Welcome back to action from the Phakisa Freeway and the Extreme Festival of Motorsport, regional categories and national categories combined today. Looking forward to some more action now from the DOE Formula Vs as they make their way around onto the circuit to take up the positions now. Big thanks to DOE and Start My Car for all of this race action. Lendl Jansen and Gert Van Den Berg on the front row again, ahead of Greg Wilson, and Peter Hills one step higher than the last time. He's ahead of Shaun Van Der Linde and Vaughn Hills. Richard Carr had some problems in the Lucky Star Sardine Flying Fish, just ahead of MD Bester, and it was Vaughn Hills ahead of Carl Watt. Theodore Vermaak made his way up into the top 10 and into single digits in the first race, looking to do more of the same from 11th place on the grid ahead of Jeandre Le Roux in car 27, the Liqui Moly sponsored machine. Jannie Geyser and Marcel Blignaut. Cut for Eric Booyens and of course David Austin. And at the back of the field it'll be Josef Kotze and Klinton Kane that make up the 18 cars on the grid now for the DOE Formula Vs. On Bridgestone rubber now as opposed to what they used to be on. So some new rubber on these cars, semi-slicks that they're going to be racing on. So looking forward to some big action as we saw in the first heat. And the braking proceedings was a lot less than what we expected. So if you have just joined us again, a big welcome to everybody all around the world here from the Phakisa Freeway in the Free State of South Africa. It's a standing start for Formula Vs and just waiting for the green flag at the back to get everybody sorted out. And as soon as we got that, the lights will go on and the start procedure will take place. So we've got a bit of a problem with one of the cars who may have just slotted into the wrong grid position there. So going to be a little readjustment of the grid before we get underway. Looks like we've got a car missing there. Possibly Peter Hills. Yeah, Peter Hills I think is not going onto the start grid by the looks of things. He should be in the 4th place, and so that's a gap between second place Gert Van Den Berg and Vaughn Hills with the blue helmet. Unfortunately, looks like Peter Hills has not been able to get back onto the circuit, but we'll wait and see if that's the case. But there was definitely a gap there in the 4th spot on the grid. About to go into, I think that might be Peter's on the sideline there that they're having to work on. Possibly the car that's giving some problems. See whether or not that is the case, but as they pull to the side of the line, looks like we're going to get that car out of harm's way just so we can get the start procedure done. There should be enough time for them to get that car behind the pit wall and through the gate while they're onto their first lap, but let's wait and see what the COC is going to say there. Car's got going, but I think he's going to have to go into the pit lane and off the circuit. Problems there at the start, as you can see, coming down towards turn 1. This is not where this car should have started. It is Peter Hills who's got the problem, and he pulls into the gate at the end of the pit lane and out of harm's way. We eventually get a green flag at the back, and we can now go into the start procedure. Whatever the issue is that car, maybe he'll be allowed to start from pit lane if he's got the car started. But we're now under starters orders. 30-second board is up. Lights are about to go on. As soon as they go off, we go racing. And Lendl Jansen wants a double victory today and gets a great start off the front row. Side by side, though, with Gert Van Den Berg. And Van Den Berg's got the inside line for turn 1. Could possibly do the whole shot he has. Van Den Berg whole shots into turn 1. So Gert leads out going into turn 1 with Lendl Jansen right on his tail. The rest of the field come through there. And everybody gets through relatively unscathed out of turn 1. Now heading towards turn 2. It's Van Den Berg from Lendl Jansen. Race 1 winner there, Jansen, looking for a double victory today. But Gert Van Den Berg definitely wants to take one back from him. And then it's Greg Wilson, followed by Vaughn Hills. Vaughn Hills with a big dive on the inside from Richard Carr. Richard Carr makes up one position and gets ahead of Shaun Van Der Linde. Van Der Linde just ahead of Vaughn Hills as they came out, and MD Bester. MD Bester and Vaughn Hills fighting hard now to try and get through the pack for 7th, 8th and 9th places. They've started this out for race 2 of Formula V. Great start to proceedings so far, and Formula V, of course, now looking to get into the mix here on the Phakisa Freeway purpose-built motorcycle circuit in its past. And of course, we've already seen some incredible lap times being put in by some of the categories out on circuit today. And these Formula Vs also starting to get into the mix and into the lap times that they require. Slightly different rubber out there, so it'll be new lap records set for these cars on the new tyres today, of course. Maybe not the outright lap records set by previous versions of Formula Vs around here, but need to say they're still getting some great lap times around here. Defensive driving coming out of Van Den Berg to keep out Lendl Jansen. Lendl Jansen still in second ahead of Greg Wilson. Wilson now being closed down by Brandon Hills, and right on his tail is Richard Carr. So whatever the issue is on that car, they've certainly sorted it out and hopefully can maintain that kind of pace all race long for Carr, the man from Cape Town. About to complete lap number 1 here of 10. Final bit of race action for the Formula V guys to sort themselves out. Once they're done, of course, with the new COVID rules, they'll be grabbing their trophies and making their merry way home. Maybe some of them will stick around to watch the action from the Phakisa 200 later on this afternoon. But as they come down towards turn 1 again, it's the first lap in anger completed, and a 54.4 out of Gert Van Den Berg from a standing start is a relatively good lap time around here. 55.4 from Lendl Jansen. Greg Wilson with a 56.3, so a bit of work to do there for Wilson. He hasn't quite got the same kind of pace as the first two cars, and that's why that gap has opened up slightly, and it's allowed Brandon Hills and Richard Carr to close him down. Brandon Hills now looking for a chance to stay ahead of Carr, but Carr putting the pressure on all the way through. Looks like there might be a change up there. MD Best has got through on Shaun Van Der Linde, so MD and Shaun Van Der Linde chopping and changing just ahead there of the fourth car in that team of Vaughn Hills. Around the outside, Theodore Vermaak makes a small mistake coming out of the boot and the toe of the boot. 112 on the side. That's not good. Car 112 unfortunately parked on the sideline there. Marcel Blignaut making a small mistake. I think that's out of turn 2. Looks like he might just be stuck in the kitty litter on the exit of turn 2. Hasn't quite worked out for him, unfortunately, for this second heat of racing. But needless to say, at the front end, as always in Formula V, a magnificent battle starting to rage. The leader, Gert Van Den Berg, has put his head down and tried to get away. Lendl Jansen hasn't had an answer. You can see that Blignaut is asking for some assistance from the marshals to get him out of the kitty litter, but he seems to be quite bogged down in that kitty litter and might not be able to get out of it. Eventually one of the marshals gets there, but I don't know if he's going to have enough strength just being one man on his own out there to get that car back onto the track. These guys are about 4 corners away from the incident there, so it'll be yellow flags into that section. Car now closing on the back end and looking for a way through there on Brandon Hills. Brandon Hills defending. Top 3 have opened up a little bit of a cooler and calmer gap. Look at this. Look at the chopping and changing in the background of this one though. MD Bester, Shaun Van Der Linde and Vaughn Hills fighting for opportunities to be and remain in the single digits there. Yellow flags waving into turn 2, exactly where I thought that crash might be. And the car, of course, is on the exit point here of turn 2. We won't see it in the shot, but as they come through there, they'll be well aware that there is a marshal and a car in the kitty litter just on the left-hand side of that pan shot we've just gone with there with the first 5. Van Den Berg ahead of Jansen, Wilson, Hills, Carr, MD Bester, Van Der Linde, and Vaughn Hills. That's how they came across the line on the last pass and completed lap number 2. Greg Wilson maintains his lead over Hills and Carr, but it's not too much of a gap there. What a pity for this man. Had to climb out the car and try and get some of the kitty litter out of the way, but there's not enough there to get him out. And Blignaut, unfortunately, will be sitting on the sideline and watching as one of our only spectators out around the circuit today. That's only because he's parked his car on the sideline and can't get it going again. Wilson has got it going properly here, but he's got big pressure coming from Brandon Hills. Brandon Hills is not going to allow Greg Wilson the opportunity to have another victory over him. He's certainly going to apply a little bit more pressure than he did in the first heat now. Second heat always seems to be a little bit more caution to the wind thrown in by the drivers. That's exactly what we're seeing here coming out of Brandon Hills as he looks to try and get through and into a podium position and take that away from Greg Wilson. Wilson and it looks like Richard Carr looking to do the same thing there on Brandon Hills. You've got MD Bester now coming through ahead of Shaun Van Der Linde. Van Der Linde under a bit of pressure now as well from Vaughn Hills. And Theodore Vermaak is now starting to make up some ground. Whoa, late braking into turn 1 there. Late dive from Brandon Hills trying to find a way through. Didn't quite make it stick though. Locking up that Bridgestone tyre into turn 1, possibly flat spotting it as well. Remember, this is a very abrasive circuit that they're racing on. So if you tend to lock up your tyres, it could be costly. And a flat spot on a Bridgestone is definitely not going to be what you want. Not when you're fighting so hard for a position there on the podium. Wilson is under big pressure though. Massive amounts of pressure being thrown at the front end here of this battle for third. And it could be pretty tasty stuff here between the 2 or 3 cars if it all goes according to plan. Right now, it is a massive amount of pressure being applied by Brandon Hills. He comes around the outside, trying to cut back into the next corner, into the Coke bottle turn. Dives on the inside, but right on his tail is that lucky star sardine man, the flying fish of Richard Carr. Carr now looking for a way through. There goes Hills. Hills onto the inside of Inchini 1. It's a brave movement in Inchini 1 if you can make it stick, but highly unlikely that you can do that in a single-seater. So the corner comes back at you there pretty rapidly, and you've got to just get line of stern through Inchini 1 and 2. Now possibilities onto the back straight with the slipstream effect coming into play. Let's see whether or not Brandon Hills can pull out of the slipstream and use it to his advantage. He goes onto the inside of the right-hander. He's got through. Good timing there from Brandon Hills, setting that up from about 4 corners back, and positioned himself perfectly as he got onto that back straight to take the full effect of that slipstream. There goes Van Der Berg. 1, 2 is Lendl Jansen. 3 now is Brandon Hills. 4 is Wilson, under pressure now almost instantaneously from another red, yellow and blue car. And that is the Lucky Star machine of Richard Carr. Across the line again, the lucky car of Richard Star, or lucky star of Richard Carr, depending how it goes, coming across the line and putting the pressure onto Wilson. And Wilson just soaking it up for now, but he's got a battle of his notes. He has to go defensive on Carr, but he has to also go on the attack on Hills in front of him. Not an easy position to be in there for Greg Wilson. And of course, he has won championships in the past in this category, so he'll certainly know what to do. Troy Cochran will probably know what to do as well, as he's watching us now for the very first time. And the Adlam boys go flying past our studio. Hello, boys. Getting ready for the V8 Supercars coming up next, of course. The Mobil 1 V8 Supercars second heat of the day, with the inverted grid will be up after this. Now they head down towards turn number 3, the toe of the boot. And a bit of pressure now from Shaun Van Der Linde. In fact, Van Der Linde looks like he's got a bit of a problem. Van Der Linde has lost out to both MD Bester and now to Vaughn Hills. Front end, of course, is stablemate there to the men making up some positions there. Theodore Vermaak's teammate up the road there is Gert Van Den Berg, leading things out. Currently lapping in the 50.626 is his fastest lap of the race on that last pass of lap number 4 to complete lap number 4. And opening up a 1.8 second lead over second place Lendl Jansen in the Bull Security Machine. Down into Geel-Kop corner go the battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th place. Coming out of Geel-Kop is 1 and 2. So Van den Berg and Jansen 1st and 2nd place at the moment. Behind them is this battle. Brandon Hills with the return of the favour now coming out of Greg Wilson. The pressure being applied onto the back end of Brandon Hills. Let's see how you like it, he's saying. Late braking, but not late enough. Trying to find a way through there through turn 1. Possibly going to try and set things up for turn 3. Get good drive through the kink. Maintain good position and some good corner speed through turn 2. And then line things up for an attack into the toe of the boot here at the Phakisa Freeway. If you just joined us from all around the world, a big welcome to you on our live stream footage coming here from the Phakisa Freeway in the Free State of South Africa. And hope you've enjoyed all the action so far. This is the second heat of the DOE Formula Vs. Fights a bit further back from that as well. Nice to see fights right through this pack of cars. Absolutely brilliant stuff coming through here. And as you can see, continued action. That is, of course, is the 27 car there, the Liqui Moly sponsored machine. As we get into it now, Theodore Vermaak controlling things there for the 9th place, and the last position, of course, in our top 10 in the single digits. 27, of course, is Jeandre Le Roux. Also saw some action there coming out of Jannie Geyser and Carl Watt. So change up again now, Wilson. As we go into some of the back markers by the looks of things. Top 2 have got through there relatively unscathed. Let's see whether it's going to affect the battle for 3rd. Wilson has moved up ahead again of Brandon Hills. Brandon Hills drops back into the clutches of Richard Carr. A mistake somewhere on track there from Brandon Hills has dropped him back to 4th place. So Wilson back onto the podium. as they complete lap number 6 of 10. Brandon Hills rocking the 33 on the side. Hopefully we're going to see the number 33 higher up in tomorrow's MotoGP as well. But Brandon Hills definitely wants to put that 33 car of his on the podium and keep out the 49 and get ahead of the 5. So Wilson makes his way back to third place, but the battle's not done yet between these three, that is for sure. Three-way battle for third place as they head down into the toe of the boot once again on lap 7 of 10. Coming out of the toe now towards Coca-Cola. Pick up on the leader, Gert Van Den Berg. He's already out of that corner, heading up towards Unchini 1. Looks like it's plain sailing at this point in time for Gert Van Den Berg. He's pulled 1.5 seconds or 1.6 seconds up the road ahead of Lendl Jansen in the Bull Securities Formula V. He goes defensive onto the back straight. Doesn't really need to though. Not with the gap he's got. Here's a battle just behind the battle for third. This is of course for 6th, 7th and 8th place. Currently at this point in time, 8th place being held by Shaun Van Der Linde. But yeah, back again to the battle for third. Wilson under attack. So we chop to that battle to third place. And it looks like Richard Carr starting to get a bit more serious about getting through there on Brandon Hills and then possibly even on Wilson. Maybe he's just waiting for a mistake for either one of them before he pounces. Lap 7 completed now. 3 to go. There is your current standings. Van den Berg, Jansen, Wilson, Hills, Carr, Bester, Hills, Van der Linde, Vermaak and Jeandre Le Roux into the top 10 there for Liqui-Moly. Further back from that, this is Jannie Geyser and Carl Watt going at it. Eric Booyens just behind them. And then it's David Austin. Final car on the track, of course, is Klinton Kane in 777. Leaders coming out of the toe of the boot, heading towards Coca-Cola, waiting for the battle for third. Has there been a change-up for a possibility there between Wilson and Hills? Hills runs a bit wide, opening up an opportunity here. Watch for the cutback coming out of Richard Carr. A lucky start car now, getting good drive out of turn 4. Heading into Unchini 1 and 2. Just loses it slightly out of that turn though. Brandon Hills able to pull a great bit of manoeuvring through there and looks on the inside of Unchini 1. Setting things up here for another overtaking manoeuvre, possibly on Wilson. He'll be right in the slipstream coming onto the back straight. That's 1 and 2 going through the right-hander at the end of the back straight. And there is 3, 4 and 5 onto the back straight. Wilson goes defensive. Brandon Hill's going to try around the outside. That's a brave move around the outside in a Formula V. You're going to run out of traction though. And not even the Bridgestone rubber on these cars are going to be able to hold that line through that very fast turn 7. Hard on the brakes into Heelkop. And it's very close here. And further back it's even closer. Look at how tight it's getting there between those guys. Shaun Van Der Linde trying to find a way through on MD Bester, and Theodore Vermaak has now joined that party as well. Vermaak onto the back end, looking for a way through. Defensive driving coming out of MD. MD Bester trying to keep out the attack from Van Der Linde and from Vermaak. Top 2, the gaps come down slightly, about 0.3 of a second there between the top 2 compared to what it was earlier on. So possibilities of some changing here in first and second, and now also for third, as here comes Hills again. Brandon Hills looking for a way through. Wilson goes defensive, keeps him out. Hills going to look into turn 3. Can he make? No, he's not going to be close enough there. Under brakes, I don't think. He has a look, but not quite close enough to make it stick there into turn 3, the toe of the boot here at Phakisa Freeway. And coming out of turn 3 into 4, they'll probably try and set things up again for that back straightaway. Back markers could possibly come into play here as well. A bit of a change up possibly here as well. You can see the 75 car of Geyser. In fact, no, not Geyser, I beg your pardon. Jannie Geyser is just up the road from them, but Carl Watt now looking for a way through there on the 27 car. Speaking of a way through, it looks like Brandon Hills wants to drive right through Greg Wilson to get through. And once again, Wilson goes defensive. He holds that inside line down the back straight, which means that you're going to have to drive around the outside of him. And that's not easy to do. Not with the lack of traction available on the outside of the circuit, particularly on the point of turn in there that we saw Brandon Hills attempting. Geyser being caught again by Carl Watt. Watt and Geyser closing down onto the back end of a possible top 10. Wilson is defending here like you cannot believe. Absolutely brilliant stuff with a lap to go. And you can see it's going to be probably the closest battle on track right now is between Wilson and Hills, as Brandon Hills looks to try and get on the inside of Greg Wilson into turn 1. Wilson had him matched on the brakes though. Top 2 coming into turn 2 already. Going to share the spoils here today by the looks of things, these two. Van Den Berg going to get the second victory of the day. Lendl Jansen taking the first one already early on this morning, I should say. No more back markers to contend with, I don't think. Here we go, MD Bester, Theodore Vermaak. Oh, Vermaak's ahead. Vermaak has found a way through and got ahead now of Shaun Van Der Linde. So that's one change up there on the last lap. Van Der Linde dropping down to 8th place behind. Theodore Vermaak in 7th now. As Van Den Berg, his teammate, goes into Unchini 2 and onto the back straight. Going defensive, I'm not quite sure why. Goes on the inside line and just sweeping left and right. Maybe just taunting Lendl Jansen, saying, yes, you can't catch me this time. Gert Van Den Berg's had a phenomenal run here in this second heat, though, that is for sure. Got the whole shot and hasn't looked back since. And he's going to try and keep it all together now for the last 2 corners. Van Den Berg coming to the line. And the victory for the DOE Quality Parts Formula V's. Race 2 goes to Gert Van Den Berg, beating out Lendl Jansen in the Bull Security car for 2nd place. What's going to happen now for 3rd? Have a look in the background. Is it going to be the white nose cone and the white car of Greg Wilson to hang on? Looks like it is. Wilson is going to hang on just ahead there of Brandon Hills. And just behind that, just backing out in the last couple of laps there, you can see Richard Carr for a top 5 in the Lucky Star car. Theodore Vermaak under a bit of pressure here, right in the closing stages as well. He's trying to get it to the line. Will it be ahead? No, he's not. He's going to lose out just in the end by the looks of things. Yes. Coming across the line there, Shaun Van Der Linde just beating Vermaak to the line. Further back, Geyser fighting hard here with Carl Watt. Carl Watt going at it side by side and squeezing through to get ahead of the 27 car of Jeandre Le Roux. And that's how the top 10 will end up. So, DOE Formula V's, Gert Van Den Berg beating out Lendl Jansen, Greg Wilson, Brandon Hills and Richard Carr. MD Bester in 6th place beats out Shaun Van Der Linde. And Theodore Vermaak just being caught to the line there. In fact, just missing out ahead of the last minute effort from Shaun Van Der Linde. Jannie Geyser in 9th, 10th place goes to Booyens. Jeandre Le Roux for Liqui Moly in 11th, beating out Carl Watt and David Austin with Klinton Kane at the back end. And some problems right in the closing stages for Vaughn Hills.